afternoon, everyone. It's a privilege to be presenting about what Maruti does for the safety of its supply chain. We are committed to promoting a culture of safety. We believe that all incidents, safety incidents, are preventable. We also believe that we all, everyone, whether ourselves or our partners, we are all responsible for setting and maintaining the processes which are required to ensure these outcomes. We have adopted many of these within our own organization. Some of these have been acknowledged through awards, national awards. Our vision is to be a zero incident company. Today's discussion is, of course, not about what happens inside the OEMs, but safety within the supply chain. I would like to briefly explain the various activities which are going on to promote safety across the supply chain. Safe in India, in its presentation, talked about factors which lead to poor safety. Our presentation is fortunately along the similar lines. Classification is along similar lines. Classification of activities which are done is on the lines of factors which lead to poor safety. If operator training, less operator training on the operation, on awareness of safety procedures, the use of equipment. If this is a problem, it is a problem. So what are the activities? A big concern is training when a person is inducted and later refresher trainings. Training for people on shop floor. Our focus has been on setting up dedicated worker training centers at our suppliers, tier 1 suppliers, which also have a module for safety, whether it is accident simulation or emergency, how do you handle emergencies. Besides these supplier training programs are also supplemented by our own training programs, by our training academy, our Center for Excellence. There's a photograph at the lower right. Recently, our Center for Excellence has moved this onto wheels, so you can have these training programs go down the supply chain to locations where facilities probably will not be available. So you use these to train them. Equipment maintenance is another area. Even before maintenance, the quality of equipment itself, adequacy of safety features. So how do we take care of this? When lines are initially approved at our supplier factories, equipment is audited. Thereafter, the procedures which are needed to maintain the equipment are also a part of the assessment. Later, I'll be showing that all these assessments are a part of our comprehensive excellence program, on which our suppliers are supposed to score a minimum of 70%. And if they don't score that, give them some grace period, of course. But if they don't meet even after that, then our long-term business is put on hold. And considering that some of the suppliers are smaller, we also encourage low-cost automation. We talked about the SII video, talked about production pressure. the way this is checked is before a model, a new model starts, each and every part which goes into the model, the production volume capability at suppliers is confirmed about 3 months before the actual production starts. It's confirmed to whatever is the peak volume plus 10%. Ergonomics is another area where which contributes to safety. Low cost of automation to take care of difficult work. Operator fatigue is often the cause for lapse of attention and therefore the cause of an accident. So this becomes an important part. Material handling is another focus area for us, number of activities for that. Fire safety. We have over the last 3 to 4 years, after some serious accidents, we have gone through the fire safety procedures throughout our supplier base, and not only hydrant systems and so on, but even going down to the electrical connections, electrical fire safety through methods like thermography and so on. So this has given good results. Our basic approach is communication, training, upgradation support by us. Wherever we have upgradation teams, we have the Maruti Center for Excellence. We encourage transparent reporting. These are all enablers. This is how we see that they are also accountable for these improvements. I explained this, that each of these things, including the safety preparation at suppliers, is a part of our comprehensive excellence assessment. Today, about 95% of our suppliers have made good progress on these things. There are areas which need improvement. And like I said, a minimum of 75% mark is required for continuing good business. There are areas which need improvement further. And also this assessment is not a static model. It's going to continuing performance is evaluated here. And the bar is also sought to be raised over a period of time. Today, about 89% of our suppliers, tier 1 suppliers, are OSAS or ISO 45001 certified. The problem at tier 2, the challenges at the tier 2 level are more serious. A brief explanation on the tier 2. The tier 1 decides based on his business calculations, his business model. He decides which operations to outsource, whom to outsource it to, and he contracts with them. When you go down the supply chain, the numbers increase. 4 times is what we see at in our company. Generally, many of these, some of these tier 2s are, of course, specialized global suppliers. We don't have much concern there, but there are many of them are also very small. Resource constraints restrict their capability to implement supply systems. We encourage our tier 1s to upgrade these tier 2s. This is the approach we adopt. Tier 1 supports tier 2 improvement, monitors what he does. We track what the tier 1 is doing, whether he has adequate resources to upgrade his tier 2s. Does he have SOPs for that? What are the results coming out of it? We also, on a sampling basis, through our Center for Excellence, see the actual results of what's coming out from the tier twos. Majority of the accidents reported, even SII data corroborates this data, take place at the smaller suppliers. And from SII data, this pie has been taken out. 52% of the injuries are related to press, another 9% to molding. We took up this on a crash basis. 85% of the suppliers in tier 2 suppliers in NCR region, and is what we started with. Now we are moving into we are in the second phase, spreading it out across the rest of the country. This is the approach which we have taken, driven by the tier 1 because the numbers are large, relationship is of the tier 1. So, but the checklist, the training for using the checklist, the sensitization, that's where we move this effort. And just a brief glimpse of what's covered in the checklist. This is the process: management sensitization sessions. I think the first step is how do we make sure that the suppliers realize that what's happening down the supply chain is important. The safety is important. Sensitization. If the time permitting, I would like to show you some of the videos which we showed at these sensitization sessions to make them aware of what could be done down the supply chain. And then these are some of the activities which in a brief period of time, these tier 1 suppliers had driven improvements in their tier 2s. We had good results. Lower left side, if you see the chart, we started with good results. Unfortunately, it was not consistent. What's causing this problem? I'm sorry. What's causing this problem? Lack of awareness, operator training, bypass of safety features to save on cycle time. New workers are hired only when the need arises. No matter what we say, that you please hire them, train them, and then deploy them on the line. But when it's a small scale supplier, keeping a worker idle, paying him and keeping him idle for 2 weeks is probably a burden on him. So he compromises on this. Generally, small shops run by small management bandwidth to be able to handle multiple issues, a limitation, compromise on quality of equipment. Just an example on mechanical press, predominance of mechanical press, which we know is prone to more safety incidents. What are we doing about increasing the scale? We believe scale is one of the serious concerns in the deep supply chain. So we have, our focus is basically that existing supplier base, existing tier 2 base, we upgrade tier 1s, of course, try to upgrade them. They are encouraged to improve their suppliers, but people who are not improving, ultimately we have to phase them out. And the phased out business of the phased out suppliers is consolidated with the better ones. In the last 3 years, about 15% of the suppliers have been phased out. At the tier 2, at our new location, Gujarat, we had the opportunity of starting anew. So there we have taken care of these, that the tier 2 suppliers are much bigger and with better facilities, better managerial supervision. And of course, the recent revision of SME turnover limits by the government of India also supports the increase in scale of deep supply chain. The way forward, we will continue to use our influence as a buyer to promote safety within our supplier factories, to encourage and reward suppliers who step up, set up resources, and actively work for improving their tier 2 suppliers, who will consolidate and grow business with better performing tier 2 suppliers. MSIL will, of course, validate. We'll also like to validate these are presently audit-based, reporting-based. So we will continue doing this, validating the result through this. But it also helps if we can validate our own audit results or reports which we receive from suppliers. It will help if we can have independent data which we can match against this. And we, of course, also look forward to the industrial bodies to supplement the efforts of OEMs and tier 2s to inculcate a safety culture. So I come to an end of my presentation. Thank you.